Good evening. My name is Kevin Stanley. I am the program coordinator for ELC. I want to welcome you to our information session about the English Language and Culture program at McGill University. You look around at the WebEx, you might not be used to it. There's a chat, and I just put a few things in the chat before the meeting started. I'm going to put links there all the way through. If you want to ask questions, uh, you can ask questions anytime with the chat. I'm just typing in a little chat message now. I'm going to be putting links and extra information in the chat as we go uh, throughout the different things here. So if you want to ask a question that way, you can also wait with your questions at the end. I will get you, those of you can turn on your microphone then, or your camera if you like, and we can actually talk about questions and I can answer your questions. Sometimes it's easier than with the chat to ask a question directly, and I'm happy to do that. This meeting is, we can have a question period at the end. I'll need about 20 minutes to explain everything, and then we'll have lots of time for questions. We have a full hour. So that's fine. So why don't we get started? I am recording. As I said, my name is Kevin Stanley. I'm the program coordinator of the English Language and Culture program at McGill University. Uh, the During the presentation, you can put questions in the chat. If you want to put a question in French, that's okay. Even maybe a question in Spanish, but I might get it wrong. But you can use French or English in the chat if you wish, and I'm very happy to answer as we go, if I can. And the recording, I am recording. This recording will be sent to you. You'll get a link from our marketing department if you registered for this uh, presentation tonight. You'll get a link later with the video, a link to the video so you can watch. Everyone who registered is going to get a video link. Okay, so let's get started then. One of the way I like to start is to talk about why people want to study English and the different motivations people have for doing that. And there's a lot of different reasons that people have. One of them is that they want English for their job. They're looking for work or they're thinking about a future career, and the English, this program is very good for professional purposes for that kind of thing. Another thing people are looking for is um, studying at an English university. They want to study at McGill University or another English university, and this program will really prepare people for that. That's really its main focus. Others are trying to write a test. They want to write the TOEFL or the IELTS test for some purpose. Maybe it's for university, for a job, and this is a good way to do that, to prepare for that. Some are living in Canada or they want to live in Canada, and this is another reason why people want to take the intensive English language and culture program. They're trying to learn quickly instead of slowly in a part-time kind of program. And other people just say they want to have more opportunities. They want to travel, they want to do different things in their life, and English is a good way to help them on that path. These are all great reasons to study English with our program, and all of those reasons, all those needs can get met very well by the program that we have for you here in Montreal. So I want to talk about McGill University a little bit. McGill is a famous university in Canada, if you don't know that already. It was a very old university. It was founded in 1821, so it's 200 years old. It's not the oldest university, but it's a very old university in Canada. It is one of the top universities in Canada. There's different rankings for different types of universities, and McGill is sometimes number one, sometimes it's number two. We have very good universities in Canada. All of them are good. But with University of Toronto, University of British Columbia, McGill, they're all very similar in what they have, and they're all very good universities. According to QS for 2024, for next year's listing, we're number 30 in the world of research universities, which we're very proud of. But you know, these rankings, if it's 30 or 31 or excuse me, or any of these types of rankings, it really doesn't matter that much. There's lots of good universities all over the world, and we're one of them. We have had 12 Nobel Prizes won by people at McGill. We've had 147 Rhodes Scholars, and we are very international. We have students from all over the world. We have students representing 150 different countries. So we really have an impressive collection of students from everywhere. And if you are from a different country, you are going to meet people from all other places. I guarantee that. So I want to show you some photos of our beautiful university. There's our campus in the spring with the flowers out and the blossoms on the trees. We're right in downtown Montreal, but it doesn't look like it. But that's what the campus is like. That's a view from above. Right behind all that green space you see up here, that's Mount Royal Park, right in the center of Montreal. You can see these skyscrapers all around us. We're actually, our offices and our buildings and our classrooms are in this building right here on the corner of the campus. But that's our campus right in the heart of the city. There's our McGill University Health Center Hospital. McGill is a medical university with a lot of research, and that's our main hospital. That's a view of the western part of the campus, looking down the hill, down from the mountain towards downtown. There's our natural history museum called the Redpath Museum right on the campus. It's free. You can go in there and look at our dinosaur. There's a view off across Sherbrooke Street of our main gates. There's some of our medical research buildings. And there's our famous arts building, the McBain Arts Building in winter. It is summer now. It's very hot these days, but if you're coming later, you're coming in the fall, by December you'll see some snow. If you are new to Montreal, new to winter, you'll have that experience. That's in front of our building at 680 Sherbrooke West. That's where our offices are and our buildings, our classrooms for our English language and culture program. Now, I want to sort of sum up some of the reasons you might want to choose English language and culture program to study English. It's, as I said, it's academic and professional, but it's really a great language school, a best language school in the best city in Canada, Montreal, at the best university in Canada. Now, let's get a little more granular about that. It's a chance to learn quickly. You do an entire level of the program in 6 weeks. You do it fast. It's 24 hours of class a week. I'll get into those details in a few moments. But it gives you a chance to learn the real English you need for your academic and professional life. It really is a complete program that gives you everything you need. And it's a chance to study with students from all over the world. We really are truly diverse. Sometimes we have more students from one country than another, but we have students from just about everywhere. Let me get down to the details of the program. It's 6 weeks for a course. One course, one level is 6 weeks. And it's each week is 24 hours of class with two teachers. There's a teacher in the morning, a teacher in the afternoon. So those two teachers give you really different perspectives and really help you improve your skills. You have conversation partner sessions at lunchtime and after school, and lots of activities on top of all of that. These are all optional, of course. You don't have to be participating in those, but they're an option for you at any time. So I'm going to get into more details with that as we go through. Let's look at a schedule. This is more or less what every week looks like. The schedule of classes is 9:30 to 12. Monday to Friday, every day, 9 to 12, with a morning teacher. Lunchtime, you have 1 hour of break time, but once or twice a week, there's going to be some conversation partners coming to your classroom, and they're going to help you practice. I'll get into what they look like in a moment. You have another afternoon class with the afternoon teacher from 1 to 3:30. Now that's Monday to Thursday. On Friday, you also have an afternoon class, but it's the same teacher as the morning that day. And you finish early. You finish at 2:30. And the reason is that we have special activities on Fridays that you can go out and do something in the city and enjoy our beautiful, interesting, fascinating city with conversation partners after school on Fridays. We culture is very important. You know, the name of the program is English Language and Culture, and so we make sure each level has some special projects that really focus on culture, on Canada, on Montreal, on Quebec, on different kinds of cultural points of view. So here's some of the special programs and projects that happen at particular levels. We have 8 levels, but we have lots of diverse things that we're going to be learning about as you study with us. Our classes are not very big. Our average class size is about 15. So sometimes you might have more than 15, sometimes you'll have less than 15. It can be as low as maybe 8 students sometimes, and maybe as high as 21 or 22. But our average is 15. That's what we aim for, to have an average of 15 throughout the program. But we often only have one class at one level, and so sometimes the class is bigger, sometimes it's smaller. You do a lot of work in groups. Even with a class of 15, there might be 5 groups working at the same time in there. So that the teacher has time to work with individual groups, but also you get a lot of chance practicing speaking. You're going to be using English in the classroom. The teachers are not going to use any language other than English in the classroom, whatever level you're in. And you're going to be using English every day, all the time, 5 hours a day at least. Those two teachers mean you get a lot of individual help and attention, but it's really about you participating and getting everything you can from this rich linguistic environment where you're going to learn a lot. Our programs are supported by the McGill My Courses LMS system. So this is something at McGill. Every course has its own homepage, and all our material is there. We don't have books to buy. You don't have to buy any books for this course. The books are included because all the material is online that you're accessing in the classroom with this LMS. That means you need to use a computer in class. You need to bring a device. The best choice is a laptop computer to function in this course. It's really important. A tablet is good, using a tablet. A phone is not so good. A phone is possible, but it's very limited in what you can do because the screen size is so small. And you need a keyboard in order to do writing activities. So you need to be comfortable using a computer in English, and that's important to prepare yourself with that. You need to bring it to class every day, laptop or tablet. You need it for the listening activities, the reading activities, speaking, writing, homework, everything on your laptop using Wi-Fi here at McGill. I mentioned conversation partners. Conversation partners, we call them CPs, conversation partners. They are McGill students, really. Sometimes they're students from another university, but they come to the classroom once or twice a week. You're going to have a conversation partner visiting your classroom at lunchtime. So when you're having lunch, you can chat with them. They do a lot of, socializing and sort of making friends and helping everyone talk. And it really creates a nice social environment in our school. And they're the ones who do the after school activities and do the activities on the Friday afternoons, going out to visit different places around the city. So they are kind of like people who are going with you. They're not the teachers. The teachers are different, but they're there to help you practice and help you have fun and help you enjoy your time with us on campus and at McGill. The activity schedule, every session, this one is from summer one, we have a schedule that we prepare for the 6 weeks. These are all the different weeks, and you can see there's an activity every Friday. There's some special things during the week and on Mondays in this case, and sometimes there's a holiday or whatever. This is a new schedule every session. It is going to be on in a poster in your classroom in the first week of the course, and it's going to be downloadable in a PDF format. You can download it. You can actually see it on our website right now. If you go to the schedule part on our program page, you can download the current schedule, the one that we're working with right now, and see it. So it's a chance to actually, I'm thinking about that. I should probably show it to you. Let me see if I can find it for you, and I'll put it in the chat right now as it occurs to me. Seems like a good idea. I'm going to put the link to it where you can download it directly in the chat, and you're going to be able to get that right away and see what's going on this session. Let me just grab one of these and get that link. Copy the link. So here's the link. This is the activity schedule for this session. So you can actually see what's going on. It's a PDF. You'll be able to download that and have a look from the chat. I do recommend having a look. I don't know what's going to happen in the session you're going to do, but that's a pretty good way of getting a sense of what's going on in our school. I think tomorrow the group is going to what are they doing? I'm not sure. I can't see the schedule in front of me, but they're going to be doing some kind of activity tomorrow afternoon. So there's a lot of special stuff they do all around the city, the different types of activities. They visit museums and visit different neighborhoods, parts of the city, parks, and do special activities, go and do something fun like going bowling or something like that. Some of these things are free and other ones you have to buy a ticket or something like that, but these are all optional and you can choose to participate or not. In addition to that, we have other types of ways of engaging our students in the community. We have a partnership with the MCLL, the McGill Community for Lifelong Learning. These are seniors who are at McGill, and we try to pair them up to have a chance to practice English with a senior citizen. We have volunteering opportunities in different volunteering organizations in Montreal, and we're happy to have students do that. And we also have the services of CATS, Career Advising and Transition Services, who will do special activities with you and support students on the campus. So finding jobs or looking for work or that kind of thing, and that's what they're there to do. So let's move along here. Our program leads to the Certificate of Proficiency. Certificate of Proficiency. Now, at the end of the program, like if you've done the whole program, all the courses, or you at least the last two, you have to do advanced 1 and advanced 2. That's CGL 413 and 423. That's our 7th level. You will get the certificate of proficiency at a graduation ceremony. You have to be admitted to the program and you have to do those two courses. And this certificate allows you to meet the language requirements for McGill University. That means if you want to join McGill and study at McGill, you don't have to take a TOEFL test or IELTS test to enter. You can use our certificate of proficiency. It's the same thing. It is recognized by McGill University. It is recognized by some other institutions, but not every, that's all over the world. Lots of people use different systems, but that's what the TOEFL or IELTS is for, is a standard international test. But our certificate is recognized at that kind of level, like an IELTS 6.5 or IBT 90. I mentioned that there's 7 levels and we have 8 courses. All right. So level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and level 7. These two have 2 courses, but it's one level. They're kind of the same starting point, but you do the level twice with a different focus, different material. It's got very different things to do each time, but it's sort of for the same level. But you have to do both of those courses to get the certificate of proficiency. And where do you start? You're going to start maybe at level 3, maybe you'll start at level 5, maybe you'll start at level 1. We don't know until we take a placement test. So these are the levels: CEGL 213, 223, 2313, all the way up to 413, 423. There's the CEFR equivalences, the Canadian language benchmarks, the IELTS approximately, and the TOEFL around where the TOEFL would be for those equivalencies. All right, the placement test to know where are you going to start. Which course is going to be your first course? You have to take a placement test. And to do that, you do it online. Our placement test is online. I'm just going to put the link for the placement test in the chat right now, okay? And Jonghoon Choi, your question, I see it there. Does every student get Wi-Fi access? Yes, of course they do. At McGill, we use Wi-Fi for everything. So if you have a McGill account, you'll have McGill Wi-Fi. So I can answer your question right now about Wi-Fi. The placement test, however, is something that you need to all do before you register. You can register before doing it, but I recommend you the other way around. You can take the placement test starting next week. There's a placement test next week, and there's a placement test 2 weeks later. There's a 3-day period to do it in. You have to click on that link that I just put in the chat and register for the placement test. You have to pay with a credit card online. You have to create a profile and register for that placement test. $43. If you don't take the placement test now, the price is going up in September. Okay, so but I do recommend you take it sooner than later before you register to know what your level is. If you do take the placement test and you don't like your level, you don't have to register, but you do have to pay for the placement test in any case. The placement test costs $43 Canadian dollars. You need 1 hour, and you need to do you need to have a headset like what I'm wearing, a headset plugged in like a USB headset on your computer to do it. Don't try to do this on your phone on a moving bus or something like that. It's a really bad idea. You need to do listening, speaking, reading, and writing. It's not a modern website. It's been there for a few years, so it doesn't work that well on a phone. It works better on a computer. So really sit down with your computer. Make sure you check the requirements, that you have a microphone with a headset, good internet, and you can do this. It's otherwise you might have some problems. I really recommend you look at carefully what you have to do, and you need 1 hour. You can't start and stop. You have to start it and finish it, and then it's done. The tests are running from Tuesday to Thursday at the same time. You have a 3-day period to do the testing, and then it closes. You have to continue. Let's see. There's another question here about the sessions. About to get to those in a moment about how they work, and I'm going to answer your question in a moment. All right, Jonghoon Choi. So these are the dates. Session 1, Session 2, which is about what your question is. Fall 1, Fall 2, Winter 1, Winter 2, like that. Those are the dates coming up. These are independent courses. They are, you can start in fall 1 with the next one. You can start in October 30th. You can start January 15th. You can start on March 4th. You can start at any start date. There's 6 times a year you can begin the program, and that's your first level. We do a placement test. We find out which level you start in. If you're going to do 3 levels, you need 3 sessions. That's simple as that, okay? We call it fall 1 and fall 2 because they're within the fall semester. So fall sessions, there's session 1, session 2. You can do session 1 and then continue in session 2 with a new level. If you pass, you have to pass your course, and then you can go on to the next level. You don't you change your level. You don't, and you'll have a new teachers, new class in the next session. Is that? I hope that answers your question, Jong Hoon. So one session, one level. Start anytime. The fees, what does it cost? It costs, well, yeah, by the way, about those dates, sorry, for the fees and the dates, I'm going to put this link in the chat too, fees and dates. If you want to know about those dates that I just showed you, those are always changing, of course. When we make a new session, there's new ones coming up, and there's a website that has one page that has all our dates on it all the time being updated. The fees, it costs starting in September, $2,833 dollars Canadian for one session for 6 weeks. That's the cost for one course for one level. All right. Those fees are going up. They're changing for September. Right now, the fee for some summer was a little bit cheaper, $200 cheaper, but it's going up in September, which is what it does. It seems to go up as a lot of costs have increased, so they're putting up the price again. This is the same price for all students, Canadians and international students, permanent residents. Everybody pays the same. As I mentioned before, the books are included. You don't have to buy a book. If there is a book in your level, there's sometimes a book, the teacher's going to give you the book. You don't have to buy it. If you're an international student, international students are people who are not permanent residents or Canadian citizens, someone who's here on a study permit or on a visitor visa. You need to have Blue Cross medical insurance, and we will sell it to you. You must buy our insurance from McGill for $90 per semester. So that covers not one session, but two sessions in one semester, fall, winter, summer. This is required by law in Canada that the university must provide insurance to the students for medical coverage. If you're a Canadian or a permanent resident, you don't need this, and you won't have to pay for that. It's only for international students. There's a deadline to register. If you're interested in the September 11th session, it's 2 weeks before. It's always 2 weeks before. So August 28th is the registration deadline for the fall one session. If you want to know when the deadline is, just look at the date and subtract 2 weeks. Go 2 weeks earlier, that's the deadline. It is possible to register after the deadline. However, you have to pay a late fee of $200. So if you register on August 29th, it doesn't matter what the reason is, it's $3,033. All right, it's extra $200. So please don't wait until the last minute. Please register before the deadline and save $200 so it's cheaper for you to register on time. You have to register for every session that you want to study with us. You can't register for two sessions at a time. You register for one, then you have to register for another one later and pay separately again. If you can't pay the entire amount on the day of the deadline, it's possible we can wait for that, but you do have to talk to us and explain why that is, and we'll work out a plan for you. But if you don't communicate with us and register and get everything underway with a deposit, then you will not have a guaranteed place in the program. Now, I want to move on to talk about housing a little bit here. We don't have, if you're coming from another place and you need a place to stay, we don't have any on-campus housing. The residences on McGill campus are a very limited number, and they're really for full-time students in the main university, not for a program just doing 6-week sessions, so it's impossible. There is a off-campus housing website I just put in there. You can look at to try to get some help. If you're interested in homestay, homestay is a good option. It's an inexpensive option compared to some other things for a place to stay for international students. It's also a good way to practice your English. There's two homestay companies that I can mention to you. MS Homestay, there's a website, and Canada Homestay Network, there's their website. I put those links in the chat. Those two companies are companies we know, and we know that they have good quality homestays. We don't have a relationship with them at this time, but they are, you should check their websites, find out their prices. I think they're about the same services. They often have airport pickup, that kind of thing available. We don't do the homestay at McGill. We don't have the ability to do that. But these companies are companies that many of our students use. If you don't want to be, I mean, homestay is not for everyone. Sometimes it's not that, you don't want to be living with a family. There are some private student residences. There usually were old hotels. They were a hotel before, and they've been changed into a student residence, and they're quite near campus. Some of them are only a few minutes away, some are a little further. I'm going to put a few links in here in the chat for these private student residences. So Campus One is one of them that's very near our campus. Evo, this is about 2 minutes away, the campus one. Evo is about 15 minutes away walking, and Park Cité is about 5 minutes. This campus one's the most expensive, but it includes food, I think. And Evo is a little less expensive. Park Cité is the cheapest of these three. There are other ones too, but these are the ones that we know some of our students stay at. Okay, I want to talk about payments. If you're overseas, you can actually pay online with an Interac e-transfer or a Canadian bank, or if you're outside of Canada, with Convera or CIBC International Pay. I'm going to put a link here in the chat about how payments work. You can also pay in person, of course, if you're here in Montreal at our counter with a card. Of course, we don't do cash. You need to use a debit card or a credit card to make your payment. All the details of that are on this website, the payment of accounts, but it is a pretty good online system for paying. All right, so I want to just go over how to register. We have an easy way to get started to communicate with our office staff to help you because, everyone's got a little bit different situation with maybe with their study permit or when they want to start or their status or certain questions. And so we kind of like to sort you out a little bit about what your needs are, where you're from, and when you're planning to study. And so you can fill out this very short form online to give us some information, and we can help give you the right kind of things to do. And we'll be able to send you a registration form. You have to complete the form and send it to us, and then we're able to start your registration process. Let's move on a bit here. I've got a video that I put up earlier here. I'm not going to show it now, but I do recommend you have a look at it later on your own. It's a nice video. It's actually coming back to our homepage soon. It was taken off, but it's coming back. It's a nice video about our program and how it works, and I think it would be very helpful for you to look at that. So I recommend looking at that video on YouTube. Now I'm also just going to put our program page up again. If there's other details, you can get all that there. I'm going to do a couple more things in the chat. I'm going to put the email address of our office. Okay, this is our office email. This is you'll be talking to someone there about just about anything, about registration, about the test, the placement test, how things work, what you have to do. They're the person to talk to in our office email. You can send them an email anytime, or go to our office in our building at 680 Sherbrooke. If you have a question about the program itself, in other words, the academics, that's the academic questions are for me because I'm the academic program coordinator. I don't really know about a lot of things that are related to visas and things like that. I'm not allowed to give you advice on that, but some of the people in our office can help you a bit better than I can. So you can ask me a question, kevin.stanley@mcgill.ca. Now, that's it for my presentation, and I want to, I'm going to stop sharing now. Stop sharing. And we're going to give you a chance to ask questions if you'd like to ask questions. I'll be able to put more things in the chat or maybe go back to sharing and show things again if something wasn't clear. Very happy to take, I've got another 20 minutes to answer questions. So if anyone wants to unmute their microphone and ask a question or put another question in the chat, you can ask a question in English or French. If you have a question in Spanish, I could probably try and do my best. Uh, but yeah, don't ask me too much more than that. Okay, so if there's any questions, very happy to answer them. More questions can go in the chat, of course, as you go. You will get the video later. The link to the video will be sent to you at some point. So if there's any other questions, I'm very happy. I'm here. I think I can stay a little longer if you like, but I have until 9 o'clock for this time. If you have any other questions, if you'd like to ask, you can put your hand up. You can unmute your microphone. Just try to ask if you like, or just put something in the chat. Oh, here's a question from Hamza. Is it possible for someone who's an intermediate one level to pass and earn the certificate by the end of the session in only one session, based on your experience from previous sessions? Thanks. No, if you're an intermediate one, that's level 3 out of our 8 or 7 levels. You need to get the certificate of proficiency. The certificate of proficiency is the one that says you can go to McGill University. You have to do level 7, which is it's 4 or 5 levels above, and that means you have to do intermediate 1 and intermediate, or sorry, advanced 1 and advanced 2, CEGL 413 and CEGL 423 to get the certificate of proficiency. If you're an intermediate 1, you've got to do intermediate 1 for a session, then probably intermediate 2, intermediate 3, bridge to proficiency, bridge 355. Then you've got 2 more. Like you're still 6 courses away from completion. It's not possible to get a certificate of proficiency in one session, and no matter what you do, whatever level you start at. You will improve your English, but you won't get your certificate of proficiency. If you need just a certificate for doing a class, we can give you a letter of attestation that says you did intermediate 1. It is not a certificate of proficiency, though. That certificate is only for people who finish the program and get the top 2 levels. That's a certificate that's granted at convocation with a formal ceremony, like a degree. It's a very serious certificate. The Just doing one level, you can get a letter that says you finished it with the dates and that you completed the level, but that's all. You can't get an actual paper certificate, because certificate has a meaning, meaning it's been certified by the Senate of the University, McGill University. I hope that answers your question, Hamza. Okay, so if there's any other questions, very happy to answer. In winter, where will be the class? In winter, they'll be in Montreal, on campus in our building at 680 Sherbrooke West. The classes are on our McGill campus. There's a question from Evelyn Diaz about, is it possible to obtain a scholarship or student loans for this course? No, in Quebec, in the province of Quebec, there is a program called AFE, Aide Financière aux Études, and it is only for permanent residents and Canadian citizens. And it is only for credit courses, not for this course. They're not eligible. If you're if you're looking for something with loans and bursaries, that system from the government of Quebec, you could look at the English for Professional Communication. This is a credit program, okay. That program is credit, so it's very expensive for international students, but it's reasonable price for Canadians and permanent residents because it's a credit program sponsored and supported by the government, and that is the only one that you can get loans and bursaries for. There is no scholarship or loans and bursaries for the English language and culture program. Uh, Carolina, what are the recommendations for the winter in McGill? Recommendations. Do you mean living in Montreal in the winter? Well, it's if you're if you're from a tropical country, you might find it a bit surprising. It's cold. I mean, it's winter country. There's snow. It's cold weather. Sometimes it is -10, -5 degrees Celsius. Sometimes colder when it's really, really cold. That can be really difficult, but it's not impossible. I mean, you have to have the right clothes. Some people don't like the winter, but some people love the winter. They like to go skiing and do winter activities. So it's our country has winter. It's just part of our life here. It's very beautiful. Snow is very nice, but we're warm. Canadian buildings are designed for winter. It's warm inside. Um, it's you have to go outside and get cold. But we have a subway system. You're very close to the downtown underground city. It's we live here and we survive, and you will too if you're not. Don't worry, the winter's fine. I mean, it's not for everyone. One thing I'll warn you is about winter. It's important to remember. We live in the north. If you're from the south, if you're from the tropics, our days are shorter in winter. There's not as much sun. So the day is shorter, and it means maybe the sun goes down at 4 p.m. instead of 6 p.m. So it can be a little darker. It's more nighttime in winter. But in summer, like right now, the days are long, very long. So that's the way it works when you live in the north, is the summer days are long and the winter days are short. So that's something that takes some getting used to when you're from a tropical country. You should not worry about the winter. Millions of people live in the winter, and you will too. It's different. You might not, but you will never know until you try the experience. Charles Armel Yao has a question. Is this program considered a second language program? Yes, it is. For the purposes of visas and things like that, it is a second language program. Yes, it's not a content um, academic program. It's a second language program or additional language program. These are good questions. The winter, don't worry about the winter. It'll be fine. You can look up the weather information about Montreal and find out what it's like, but it's when it's -5 degrees or -10, it's just about the same. It's about the same. It's because it's dry. It's not, it's actually can be very nice. It can be very beautiful. So. Any other questions? These are great questions. We're getting some nice questions tonight. If you'd like to ask a question with your microphone, don't be shy. You can keep putting questions in the chat if you have any other ones. Happy to stay on a little longer as long as you have questions. If I don't get any more questions, we'll end the meeting. But go ahead, put anything more in the chat or ask your questions with your microphone or your camera. You're welcome to. Very happy to. All right. Well, as it looks like there's no more questions, I'll remind you all. Does this program offer part-time work opportunities? No, I wouldn't say it does. We don't have anything working any types of jobs associated with this program on our campus. Students with a student visa have to have an on-campus job at this time. The government does not give a visa that allows work permit. Um, yeah, so there's no work opportunities, unfortunately, for students in this program. I should say also, though, if you are planning on working while doing this program, do very little work. This is a very busy program. It's intensive. It's 24 hours of class a week, and there's homework. You don't have that much time. You don't have very much time for that. Cesar has a couple of questions. Where do you recommend staying during that period? What is the best side? So, uh, do you talking about the winter, Cesar, or during a 6 week session? There's lots of places to stay in Montreal. There's lots of housing opportunities. It depends on your budget and how far away from the school you want to be. Downtown, of course, is more. We're downtown. We're right in the center of the city. Some housing downtown is more expensive than others. If you're further out, but we have a very good public transit system with buses and the subway, our metro system, that a lot of students with a homestay or something like that, which is a fairly affordable way of living, they are maybe 1 hour traveling to school and 1 hour to go home. Maybe longer, maybe shorter, but not very, if you want to be 5 minutes walk from the school, it can be more expensive, obviously. And so I'm not sure what you mean. What is the best side? I don't know what you mean. Is that what are the best things about the school, about Montreal? I'm not sure. There's a lot of things we love about Montreal. Montreal's a wonderful city full of exciting things. I think when our students finish this program, when they look back at it, what they remember is the friends they make. There's a lot of great classmates you spend a lot of time with, and you make friends that you keep a long time. And it's really a social side. You learn a lot of English, of course, but you're not remembering, oh, I wrote an essay, it was really good. It's you remember how much fun you had with your friends and your conversation partners. It's a really nice social environment. Uh, Eugenia, your question, give the authorization for easy entry at the country. So, I hope that answers your question, Cesar. So, Eugenia, yeah, so when you want to come, you can apply for the program for admission. Make sure you have time to do that. And we're going to send you a letter that says you are accepted from this program for this date. And if you are worried about entry into Canada as a visitor, or if you have a study permit, it's not a problem. Study permit is the most secure way for you to enter. If you're coming as a visitor and studying for one course or just two courses up to three courses, you can. Our letter often works for that, but I don't control immigration, of course. But we say a letter. We provide a letter of that we're expecting you from this date to this date to enter our country and study at our school. That's how we do it, and you can get that letter as soon as you're admitted. We send an acceptance letter saying, we're waiting for you to come. And that often works. I'm not sure where you're from, if you're coming from Mexico or from some other places. You might need that in some cases. You don't always need that. It's helpful to have if you need to explain at Canada Immigration coming into an airport why you're coming. You have this letter to show that you're coming to study English at McGill University. Yeah, so that letter, we can provide that letter once you just have to ask for it. If you need something special, like we'll send you something, but if you don't think it's enough, you should ask us and we can give a more detailed one if necessary for entry. If you think you need more than that. Okay, great. These are good questions. Any other questions? We have a few more minutes. If you need to ask more questions, I'm happy to continue. Okay. Bye-bye, Eugenia. Thank you, Evelyn. It's if you have any other questions, please you can email us, of course. Those emails. You will get the video, everyone. You'll get a recording link sent tomorrow or the next day. I'm not sure when it comes. It's automatic. Thank you very much for attending. It's nice to have answered your questions, and I hope I'll have a chance to see you in a future session coming to Montreal and joining us in our school. Thanks very much, everyone. Have a good evening. Bye bye. Thank you. And I'm going to stop the recording now. Okay. Stop the recording.